Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start today's show, I got a couple things that I want to let you guys know about. I talked to my friends over at BMG Records. They're doing kind of an offshoot of the Everyday Rocks box set. If you just wanted to get certain copies of the albums, the picture disc, the beautiful artwork that's been restored, I can tell you, if you haven't seen my unboxing video for the Everyday Rocks box set, these picture discs are amazing. They're really thick. They're just fantastic quality. The graphic reproduction, absolutely incredible. They have released 4 of them already. Very humble. Salisbury, Demons and Wizards, and The Magician's Birthday are all available to purchase individually aside from the box set. If you are interested in the box set, those are still available on the same page, except for the 3XL box set with that size t-shirt. That one is sold out. Remember, guys, I've been saying they only make so many of these, so grab yours while you can. And you can also get the Choices box set through this link as well. And that will be in the show notes and updated on the website, scotthaskin.com. And then click on the Uriah Heep podcast link, and it'll be towards the top because it's important. It's a great place to go for resources. Also, you can go to the official Uriah Heep store where you can still get some of the other merchandise like, guitar picks and things like that over at uriah-heep.com, and I'll have that link in there as well. Now, a couple other things that I want to mention really quick. We have had 2 additions, believe it or not, to the Deep Dive Podcast Network. I want to welcome to the network John and Corey at Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited. This is a very different kind of podcast. It belongs in the Deep Dive Network, but it's not a song by song podcast per se like the rest of them are. This is a very interesting look at Aerosmith and kind of making an ultimate compilation based on songs from different guests and the hosts of the show. A very interesting show, just starting out. Go check that show out. The links will be in the show notes, as well as the other podcast, Clay and Rye at North by South. Now, this one is a different kind of song comparison. We have Rye in the north and Clay in the south, and they are doing a very different kind of contrast for songs. Another very unique podcast on the Deep Dive Network. Link in the show notes. And if those 2 voices sound familiar to you, it's because you've listened to other shows on the Deep Dive Network. So I'm sure you'll be able to figure out who they are. But great additions to the network. Very grateful to have them along. And now to today's show. Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week, we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, here with some Uriah Heep goodness, working our way through the last couple of tracks on the 10 Miles Unreleased album. We got one or two more songs for you guys. Today we're talking about the song You and I. But first, as always, it's Monday, and we got some people to thank. First of all, at the $5 Easy Living tier on the Patreon account, we have Kenny Wymore and Brad D. At the $3 The Wizard tier, we have Peter Voss, Frank Thielgard Mortensen, and William Rose. And at the $1 Traveler in Time tier, like a piggy bank that just won't break, we have Airtight Gravesite. Thank you guys very much for your continuous donations to the show, helping me keep the costs down and helping me keep this wonderful show alive. Also, thanks to everyone who has shared the show. You know, that's how these things get known, guys. It doesn't just magically happen that you just walk in with an audience. You guys have really helped with sharing the episodes, sharing the show, and that really has helped a great deal. Thank you very much. Also want to thank Cakewalk by BandLab, the program in which I used to record and edit the show, Podbean, my distributor for all of the wonderful places that this show plays. Wherever you're listening to it right now, distributed by Podbean. I also want to thank my graphic artist, Scott Lazinski, for making such a fantastic logo for the show. Audionamics, who make the Instant Dialogue Cleaner, who I will not do a podcast without. And it's just the most amazing product in my studio arsenal. Dave White, Uriah Heep's director of social media, he helps greatly spreading the word about the show on Twitter and Facebook. Also, he manages the entire uriah-heep.com website, as well as mick-box.net website. Hundreds of pages to go through, lots of cool stuff, all the history, lyrics, everything you could ever want is right there on that page, and Dave does an amazing job with that. I want to also thank my brothers at the Deep Dive Podcast Network, Nate and John at the Deep Purple Podcast, The Simple Man at Skinner Reconsidered, Terry T-Bone Mathley at T-Bone's Prime Cuts on the Other Side, Rye at Sabbath of Bloody Podcast, Paul, Joe, and David at the In the Lap of the Pods Podcast, Andy and Matt at the Hawk Binge Podcast, Eric and Jonathan at Maiden A to Z Pod, Daniel and Josh at Diary of the Man Men, the ultimate Aussie podcast, Ben and Sam at Universally Speaking, the Red Hot Chili Peppers Podcast, George and Tom at the Metal Gods Podcast, and last but certainly not least, Mark and Corey at the And the Podcast Will Rock Podcast. Great, great shows, every one of them, all wonderful people. And let's not forget my buddy Brandon at Metallicast, my favorite and the only Metallica podcast I listen to, Metallica Podcast. And check out the website, gottahearemall.com. Allegra does an amazing job bringing you the histories of Deep Purple and Emerson, Lake and Palmer, their live lives. Lastly, we have Ace on Music on Stitcher, and on YouTube, it's Ace the Music Man. Amazing insights into not just little snippets about Uriah Heep, but about Thin Lizzy and all the bands that they manage, the Grand Bonnet Band. And, you know, there's so much great information about the history of just music and box sets and fungible tokens and all kinds of stuff. A great show to check out. So all the links are in the show notes, guys. You can also go to the website, scotthaskin.com, click on the Uriah Heep podcast link, go down towards the bottom, and you will see it right there. All the links to all of these shows. They're all wonderful. And, you know, I know the people that work on them, every one of them, and they're all just amazing people that I'm so happy to be connected with. That being said, also, if you haven't checked it out yet, the Everyday Rocks box set, amazing. 7 picture discs, 7 t-shirts, a wall calendar, lyric cards, unbelievable. I love mine. I love the way it looks. I love the way it looks on my shelf. It's something I'm very proud to own. And it's got, you know, just an amazing amount of music on it. The picture discs are amazing too. The quality of the graphics, the picture discs themselves are really thick and sturdy. T-shirts are so comfortable. It's just the best package I could have ever imagined being put together by a record company, and very creative, I have to say. Also, the Choices box set, if you don't have that already, you can get that. The links are in the show notes as well. You can go and enjoy the music of Uriah Heep as told by the members of the band, past and present. You know, just saying, hey, if I were to check out your band, what songs would you recommend for me to get an understanding of who you guys are? These are the songs that they selected. Now, granted, the one drawback to that would be you can't really select Salisbury or The Magician's Birthday, right? Because that's just going to take up so much real estate on that CD that you're not going to be able to get in a lot of other songs. So I would say that there's a good chance that at least somebody would have picked one of those songs, if not multiple people. But, you know, real estate is valuable when you get one CD to pick from. So a fantastic, beautifully elegant package, really nice, would look great on your shelf and great in your CD player. So check those out, guys. And now let's talk about the song You and I. This one is another one from the 10 Miles High, from the 5 Mile Sessions, the 10 Miles High Unreleased album. And what we have here is a song that does not appear to have been released anywhere else, not on any other collections, not on, you know, the Time of Revelation or anything else, nothing that I could find. So this is a completely rare track, and let's check it out. Here is You and I by Uriah Heep. You kind of get the feeling that this might be somewhat sad or melancholy, or maybe, you know, thinking about the past, days gone by, something like that. But there's definitely a touch of sadness in this. It's really pretty, though. It's a lovely riff. I like the way it's played. I'm liking the multiple guitars here. The bass is interesting, though. The bass is very staccato, and I would have thought that at least the last note that stopped before the space maybe would have been held on a little bit longer because it really feels choppy. And that's fine. It may very well be the intent. Obviously, it was because that's what they did. But it causes to me, like, this is what that makes me feel, is a little bit of separation, like something's missing. Like the song's going to, like, goes along with what I was saying about maybe it feeling melancholy or maybe reflective of the days gone by. Something in that bass line is making me feel that way. Drums sound good. They're right, real tight with the bass, and we're off to a good start.
Then by surprise, it gave no reason, no alibi to think I'd need you, never entered my mind. If love came slowly, then I've been blind.
Yeah, I really wish I had a clear copy of this. I'm hearing the melody on guitar, which is very gentle. Going down in the scale gives you kind of that, again, that feel of melancholy. But also I'm hearing in the background behind that just a tremolo chord, which could add a lot to it if I could maybe hear it a little more in conjunction with what else I'm hearing. But so far, that's all I'm picking out in there. I thought there was maybe an organ, but I think it's just the tremolo guitar that I'm hearing. So a very rare and unexpected orchestral collaboration here with the string section. I really like that. That was a nice run going into the chorus. Didn't expect there was going to be any kind of, strings in here at all. Why would I? That was nice, though. It was nicely played, and then a little fill-in in the middle. Nice fill-in from Mick as well. I like the way the music kicked back in. It made the chorus definitely much more powerful than had the bass and drums not been there, because they're very present in this mix. And I think they would have been important if it was a balanced mix anyway. They're they definitely have their space that's their own in the song. But powerful vocal. I really like the way that John kicked it up in the chorus. Love Mick's playing during this. It's interesting to see where this goes.
If we'd have listened to what they say, there'd be no heaven, no endless day.
Maybe there is an organ back there. I can't tell for sure. It really sounds like a tremolo guitar. But there could be an organ with it as well, I suppose. I'm not sure. It's just not clear enough in the mix for me to be able to tell what I'm hearing. Which is a shame, because I think this is a very lovely and delicate song. I think with a proper mix, this could really be very powerful. The strings are really nice. They're a little bit too loud, and they're pretty dry. So they kind of feel a little bit out of place in the mix, like something was laid on top of the song after it was done, as opposed to the song being done together. And you don't want that feeling. I mean, you want it to sound like the band just went in, picked up their instruments, played it, and went home. And I'm definitely getting a separation with the strings. They just don't have, from an audio, the EQ and the reverb standpoint, they really feel like they're separate from the song. I like what they're playing, though, and I think the performance is fantastic. But mix-wise, they just feel, we don't know what the status was of this, what we're actually hearing, whether these were demos, whether this was intended to be released this way. I highly doubt that. If nothing else, it certainly wasn't mastered, whether it was even final mixed or not. So again, I feel like we're on the edge of something really good, but don't have the full product delivery to enjoy what the song could be. But taking the song just with what we have, what we're given to hear, I really like it. I love that transition into this part, and I love that there's just this little part. We're going to transition into something a little bit slightly different again here, just so seamlessly, and it just, this song really flows. I really do love the sound that we're getting out of Trevor's bass here. It's pretty edgy sounding, really bright and stands out. I'm going to guess that he might be playing with a pick here because the notes are a little more harsh than I think they would have sounded if he was playing with his fingers. But either way, whatever he's doing to get this sound, I'm a big fan of. Love the little add-ins of the strings here and there through those parts. Really cool and very passionate vocal, of course. I mean, yeah, it's John Lawton. Great transitioning back to the opening and then smoothly into this part. The song is just so seamless. And, you know, Heap's always been good at putting multiple little short bursts of parts in songs. And this one's got a lot of components to it, but yet every one of them is so vital to the next one after it. Yeah, even just taking this section alone, I could just lay back and put the headphones on and just listen to music like this for hours. This is really enjoyable. And the gentle backups are nice along with the guitar. It's just a very peaceful place to be right here. You know, this section here really makes me think about the music from, I would say, like mid to late 60s. You know, thinking about bands that were working with string sections and horn sections quite a bit back in those days. It was so common to hear this style of music, and this really works well here. I think if Uriah Heep had gone into that direction, I think they could have done some great stuff working with string sections, but it would have been a completely different style of music. It would be more stuff like this than the stuff they would eventually go on to do. So I'm glad that they touched on this, though, at least. I think it really showed a different style of music for them and showed that kind of music, even though, you know, really it was popular at a much earlier time, is timeless. You know, you could do that now and it would be beautiful. I love the sound of this. This is a fantastic build here. And I have to say, some of the frequencies in the strings are a little bit ear piercing for me. I think that they needed to be smoothed out. But again, I'm assuming this is not a final mix because just listening to the level of the bass alone would tell me that this is not a final mix. It's not balanced with the drums, not balanced with the guitars. But I really like where the song is at musically. It does feel a little bit like Magician's Birthday here, though, doesn't it? Right in that soft part before the drums come in and we sing the birthday song. Feels right about like that. Maybe, it's a little bit different. It's got a different feel to the song, but just this guitar part reminds me of that. Oh, that was a great bass fill going into this next part where we've again heightened the music and the emotion. What else this reminds me of is Homeward from Roger Glover's The Butterfly Ball and the Grasshopper's Feast. That's the album that John Lawton sang on a song called Little Chalk Blue, which is where Roger worked with him and was really impressed and ended up recommending him to Heep. But this has that same kind of feel to it. There's, obviously a different subject and a different story being told, but this has that same feel, which I absolutely love. So when the guitars kicked in here, now we're getting that extra bass note that felt like it was missing before. Like even in the last section, we're going over this, beautiful vocal thing, and we've got the strings going, and the bass is a little bit pop songish. It's choppy, it's staccato, it's got a great rhythm to it, but it's just like da-da-din-din, da-da-din, and then it leaves that wide open space. And I think for a part like that, it should be a little bit more, maybe a little less dynamic, unless you want it to be pop songish. So it really doesn't work as well. I should say this. It works more as a contrast in the last part. And here, adding that extra bass note in when the guitars come in and make it a little bit more rock pop song again, now it feels a little bit more cohesive. But I'm definitely loving each individual part. And counterpoint or things that are in contrast can work beautifully in a song. And I think they do here. I'm just pointing out the difference. Well, I can't say I understand the marching snare here at the end. I don't get the addition of that. There's nothing in the song that indicates anything that would cause me to think we should put a marching snare in here. Not musically, not vocally. Really don't understand where it's coming from. And on top of that, it's a little weirdly placed because it carries on into the one on some of the passes. It also comes in a little bit off time and feels, a little bit awkward. Again, these are unknown tracks. We don't know what they are. We don't know if they were intended to be released this way and just never were, if they just threw these together as a demo mix. We don't know. But at the end of the day, the album wasn't released. So what we're hearing are basically the potential sounds of a Uriah Heep album that never came to be. So it was not like the band said or the management said, okay, this is done. Let's go ahead and get it out there. We don't know where it is. All we know is it never got released other than the bootleg. So I can only judge what I'm hearing, and I can say that this is an absolutely beautiful song. It really desperately needs a good mix. I think that there's really an amazing song in here, but we're not hearing it because the components aren't laced together the way that they should be. Except for the marching snare, I have to say at the end, I don't get that at all. That really kind of throws it off for me. I mean, it's a fun thing musically, but it doesn't make sense for this song to me at all. So I'm not sure where that came from. But apart from that, yeah, there's some gold in here for sure. It just needs to be polished and cleaned. That's all. Great vocal performance, really great guitar work. I like that we got to hear the bass, but we shouldn't have been able to hear what we did of the bass. It should be blended in a little bit more. But some interesting choices on the bass for sure that really changed the feeling of the song. And it's simple how one note added or one note missing can do that, can just completely change the feel of a song, or at least a section of the song. But yeah, good song. And I'm glad we got to do it. It's a great way to start our week, right? With a great song. And there we go. So we will see you tomorrow for our currently final episode of the season and last track that we have not covered from the 10 Miles High. Now, remember too, that we're only covering in this season the songs that we have not previously covered. Some of these songs were covered in the Firefly season because they were just alternate versions to songs that had finally been recorded. Here, these are songs that did not have an alternate version. This is the only version that we're getting. So this is not, in this season, this is not the complete 10 Miles High. We don't even know what the complete 10 Miles High would be, again, because it was not, there was no official release. So we don't know what that studio album would have looked like before it was released. If they would have kept all these songs, if they would have dumped a couple and there would have been bonus tracks, who knows? It never happened. So, there's no way to tell. But I'm enjoying going through these songs. I hope that you guys are too. I feel like these are hidden gems that we're uncovering that the public just never got to really properly see. And we're not really properly seeing them, but at least we're getting a glimpse into what we would have seen had it come out. So that's it for today, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show, and thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!